to the MMA Fan Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Stu and Blake.
Hello and welcome to the MMA Fan Show. I am Blake Harrison and joining me as always is Stuart Whiffan.
God, that was frenzied, that one.
That's all those stress levels I was talking about earlier. We won't talk about why I'm stressed.
Well, hopefully you're all zen now, mate.
Oh yeah. You know me. I'm always zen.
Yeah.
Always zen.
Yeah, I'll worrying Harrison.
Angsty Harrison. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, I'm all right. Well, I've got a little bit of this cold that's going about everywhere. So I'll do my best not to sniff and cough down the microphone because I know that people like their ASMR podcasts and stuff, and I don't think that probably fits the criteria. Me like wheezing down a microphone, but I'll do my best.
There'll be one listener out there that's like, oh yeah, go on, just cough and wheeze for me, whiffing.
Well, we've all just seen Blake Harrison's seducing face there.
Oh yeah, baby, it works. What's that line from Anchorman? 60% of the time, it works every time. Love that.
Well, look, I'll tell you what I need. I need a little bit of sugar in my life. I think that might make me feel a little bit better. Have you got any idea where I could get some, Blake?
I think you should go to Fat Candy.
Seamless. That's right.
Yes, get your freeze-dried sweets from fatcandy.com. We've got a lovely little discount code for you. It's SWEET MMA. That's SWEET MMA. And get your freeze-dried sweetie goodness from them.
Absolutely. And how are you? Are you okay?
Yeah, fine. Kids went back to school today. I don't know about anyone else listening to this. Like, whenever you watch like TV shows, like sitcoms and stuff like that, the parents are always desperate to get the kids back to school, desperate to get them back to school. I am completely the other way around. I'm like, can't they stay a bit longer? I mean, granted, here's the thing. I'm not working at the moment. Now, if you're someone that works a 9 to 5 or whatever it is, you need the kids to go back to school because you've got to go to work. Totally understand it.
Yeah.
But I'm not working at the moment.
No,
and
you're
I love
just wandering around
the
the West Wing of like Harrison Towers, just like not knowing what to do, while all of us are out grafting.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I've started God of War Ragnarok. That's my new thing. My PS5. That's the thing I'm doing right now. I'm being Kratos.
Is that why you're gutted that the kids have gone back? You've got no one to play PlayStation with.
Maybe, yeah. Me and my son have been playing a lot of cricket in the garden as well.
Oh, man, I've got to go back to doing grown-up stuff. Shit.
Oh, no. I've got to like answer emails and empty the dishwasher and stuff like that.
God, I have to talk to my wife now. God.
Oh, God. Anyway, before I get in trouble, this is our special little Q&A question episode we've got going on. Thank you to all the listeners that have sent us
done really well.
Some of your lovely questions. We really do appreciate it because we didn't have any content this week.
Exactly.
So thank you very much. And then I'm assuming next week is going to be our very prestigious predictions awards episode or whatever you want to call it. Where we predict who's going to be the champs of 2026 and look at how badly we predicted the champs at the end of 2025. So that's coming your way next week. We will get that out to you and recorded next week. And then after that, the UFC will finally begin again. We will be in the lead up to the Paramount era, as the Americans call it, era. So, yeah, shall we get on with our questions?
Let's do it. Fire some questions out there, bloke.
So, I should have been more prepared. Harkness Ben, thank you for your message.
Cheers, Ben.
Who do you think is the top 5 most promising prospects in the UFC right now? Has to be unranked. Big fan. Thank you guys for providing a great podcast. Well, thank you, Ben. Cheers for that. So I've played a little bit fast and loose with my definition of prospect, I guess, because one of them's like 30 odd years old. But they are all unranked. They are all unranked. So, do you want to take one or two each, or how do you want to do this?
Let's do that. Yeah.
Right. My first one, Atiba Gautier, middleweight, 6'4", beast of a man. I think he's only 23 as well. I think he's from Cameroon, but trains at Manchester top team along with like Lerone Murphy and people like that. He's had 3 UFC fights, 3 first-round KOs. And he's just an absolute beast of a man. Looks amazing getting off the bus, all that stuff. I think he's got to be one of the most, sought-after prospects or whatever you would call him for this year. I'm not sure that he's necessarily going to get ranked this year. I wonder if the UFC might give him fights that they know he can win and build him up slowly, because he's just so young, 23 years of age. You don't need to rush him at all. If I was the UFC, I'd give him 3 or 4 fights this year against people you know he's basically going to smash and just build him up slowly. That's what I would do. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but that's what I think. Have you got any prospects you want to shout out?
Quillan Saltkilled.
That head kick. He's fighting again soon as well, isn't he?
He is, yeah. That head kick over Haqparast was just insane.
Good shout. He's not on my list. That's a good shout.
It's a serious barnet on him. And, I thought I'd get this one in because, I love the Australian fighters. And obviously we know that, Blake has massive issues with them. But yeah, like that was the last fighter that probably wasn't. I've got 2 others. Just, can I throw this one in there? Because I didn't realise you was going to add this little addendum of they can't be ranked.
That's not my addendum. That's Harkness Ben.
Oh, okay.
You just have not read the question properly, my friend.
Okay.
Don't start putting it on me because you can't read.
Like, Is Peyton Talbot ranked?
Yeah, because he beat Cejudo, he's ranked, isn't he?
Of course he is, yeah. Of course he is. All right, yeah, no worries. Well, I've got one more anyway. But yeah, go on and back to you, mate.
All right, back to me. I know he lost recently. Yes. I'm still a big fan of Ignacio Bahamondes.
Okay.
He got a great win over Manuel Torres, who is now ranked.
Yeah.
He lost his last fight to Fiziev, but I think he's a phenomenal striker. He's about 6'3" at lightweight. Problem is, lightweight is the hardest division to get ranked in because it's stacked from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Like, the quality at lightweight is like, there's probably only about 7 heavyweights and maybe 10 light heavyweights that are like, you're like, oh, they're top. Whereas with lightweight, you could probably say there's 30. I think lightweight is just a really tough division to do well in. And I still think he's a fantastic fighter, Ignacio Bahamondes. And another guy that's lost, and this is where I played very fast and loose with Prospect because he's 33, but he is unranked. His only loss in the UFC is to Robert Whittaker. And his only loss outside of the UFC was to a little-known fighter called Hamzat Chimaev. Not sure what became of him. But it's Ikram Aliskerov. Only 2 losses in his career, as I say, Rob Whittaker and Hamzat Chimaev. No shame in either of those losses. I think he can still do great things. He's got to hurry up because he's 33.
Yep.
But as an unranked fighter, I think he could still do really well in the UFC.
Yeah.
Who else you got?
No surprises. Luke Riley. I think Luke Riley just burst into the UFC with a highlight reel of Cage Warriors madness, and that first round, it was like, oh no, is this that thing that happens to some UFC fighters when you realise there's levels to it, and is Luke going to struggle when it gets to the UFC and that level of fighter? And it was so good hearing the Next Gen team go, right, okay, second round, let them hands go, and well, their man's flew in the second round, and we got what we'd seen in the Cage Warriors from Luke Riley, just absolute devastation. And I'm hearing rumours that he's on the London card. That would be fantastic to see that London card this year, and to see some British fighters in the UFC that had tough starts. And by that, I mean former guests of the show, Shamrock and Harry Hardwick. It'd be great to see both of them fight in London in the UFC. I think it'd be absolutely fantastic. And because, we know they're both fantastic fighters, and we know that Harry's never in boring fights. Even that horrific loss where his legs got battered to pieces, it was still a crazy fight, and that's what Harry Hardwick brings to the table. And I'd love to see him get a couple of wins in the UFC and start causing some mayhem in the UFC. But yeah, Luke Riley.
Yeah, that Harry Hardwick loss has got to be one of my most kind of heartbreaking moments
Jesus
of the year.
Christ.
I was just so excited for him to get his opportunity, and then the way it went down was just such a shame. We're big Hardwick fans
Absolutely.
on this show. So that was a shame. Another guy that I think really is a top fighter that could potentially go all the way, Farid Basharat, undefeated, 14-0 at bantamweight. Top fighter. I think he could do really great things. And I'm surprised you haven't mentioned someone. Have you got anyone else on your list?
No, go on.
I'm still a believer in Lonnie Kavanagh, mate. I would have thought you would be too.
Do you know what? That's my bad.
Not on your list, though. Not on your list.
You've
been talking about Lonnie Kavanagh for years. And then after a loss against Charles Johnson, he's like, rub that name off the list. Whiffing. Fair weather whiffing.
Well,
look at him now. Look at that.
He's Lonnie
not
fighting. Here we go. Go on. Get it out
I'm just going to check.
He's Lonnie fighting before London. I believe he is, isn't he?
He's fighting in Vegas, against Bruno Silva, which is a tough fight.
Yeah.
Really tough fight. But I think Lonnie Kavanagh's only 26 years old, man.
Yeah.
Even if he loses to Bruno Silva, and I hope he obviously wins, but even if he loses to Bruno Silva, he could still go on and have a great career.
Look, if you're going to get your losses in, get them in early. Like get them out of the way while you're a young fighter and you can still bounce back. And he
can. He's got the skills. He really does have the skills. I'm trying to remember that Charles Johnson fight, and I kind of feel like he was winning that fight until he just left his chin right in the air and just got clipped. That's my vague memory of that.
He got
fight.
clipped good as well. Like that was
he did.
It was taking nothing away from him as well. Like what a shot he threw, and and he it was a big finish, and we've both been championing Lonnie for a long time, and it was not the outcome that we wanted. So hopefully this year we see Shem, Harry, and Lonnie, start to show the world what they can do.
Absolutely. Moving on. Dig with 2 G's ____. He has asked, will Arman fight again before the winner of Paddy Gaethje fights Ilya? He shouldn't have to. We sort of covered this a little bit on last week's episode, didn't we?
Yeah.
So we're going to briefly touch on it because last week we discussed flyweight, bantamweight and lightweight in the men's UFC divisions. And Arman Tsarukyan was a big talking point because of what's going on. It's a real tough one for Arman. He definitely shouldn't have to fight again before fighting for the undisputed title. I think there's a world in which he fights the winner of Paddy and Gaethje, but I think it's unlikely. But I think that world is out there where Ilya takes too long, all these legal battles and different things like that, and then the UFC either make him vacate or whatever it is that they want to do with it. And so it's very possible that Arman does fight the winner of Paddy Gaethje. However, it's also equally possible that Max Holloway goes out and smashes Charles Oliveira and he leapfrogs over Arman. It's not right. It shouldn't happen. But the UFC have done crazier things, man. I mean, Dan Henderson fought Michael Bisping when there was Rob Whittaker, Yoel Romero, a rock-hold rematch, and probably Chris Weidman and other people there. Stu Whiffen is currently dying. No, he's fine. So, I mean, and as we mentioned also last week, there's no good fight for him outside the title because from Arman's number 1 in the rankings, and you have to go all the way down to 7 before you find someone that he hasn't beaten or isn't booked. So, they're all booked for other fights or he's beaten them already. And then you've got Gamrot, who technically beat Arman Tsarukyan, but I scored that fight for Arman Tsarukyan. He could go all the way back to the 7th-ranked Gamrot and fight him and try and get that win back. But he definitely shouldn't have to. That's a huge jump down. So tough times for Arman.
Is Arman Tsarukyan... Oh, a couple of questions for you, right?
Go on.
Is Ilia Topuria the best lightweight on the planet?
I don't know. I think it's between him and Arman Tsarukyan.
Right. So my second question was, is there anyone else in that division that can beat Arman Tsarukyan?
From what I have seen so far, no.
I agree with you.
I mean, look, it's MMA. You can't ever say definitively because fucking Sean Strickland beat Israel Adesanya. Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes in the first fight. Things happen.
Yep.
Things do happen. So it's MMA. We have to keep that in mind. But given all the evidence I've seen, I believe Arman Tsarukyan could be the best lightweight on the planet. If it's not him, it's probably Ilia Topuria. I want to see that fight to see who's the best lightweight on the planet. Now that Islam has moved up, it's between those two, in my opinion.
I agree.
So, yeah.
I agree.
Okay, next question. Tom Povey? Do you think the UFC ranking system actually ranks UFC fighters? Hang on. Do you think the UFC ranking system actually ranks which UFC fighters are the best or who is the most popular? If so, should they change it? My personal opinion on the UFC rankings, and I think this is sort of backed up really, is that it's sort of whatever they want them to be. There's a panel of people that compile the UFC rankings. That panel of people I don't believe are named. So they could be absolutely anyone. And as we've seen before, the UFC, even though this is supposed to be an independent panel, I believe, it's clearly not, because there was that situation years ago where Leon Edwards was ranked 3rd in the welterweight rankings. And because he said he couldn't fight Khamzat Chimaev, because there was a pandemic and none of the gyms were open for him to train, that's the reason he gave, which is a valid reason in my opinion. Because of that, they completely removed him from the rankings, which is absolutely insane and makes no sense whatsoever. Because of a pandemic and your gym's not open, you're refusing to fight this guy, we're going to remove you from the rankings when you was on probably like a 6-7 fight win streak at the time, and they just removed him from the rankings when he was ranked about 3rd. So that's just nonsense. Dana White himself was complaining about the rankings a while ago because he wanted John Jones to be seen as the pound-for-pound best on the planet when it was Islam Makhachev, and Islam Makhachev was collecting wins like they were on sale, and John Jones hadn't fought in like a year or whatever, or was waiting to fight the 4 years retired Stipe Miocic. So Dana complains about the rankings, but then can also seem to use them for his benefit whenever he wants to. I don't know, man. There's some weird stuff going on with the rankings. They don't always make sense. But yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see a rankings panel made up of truly independent journalists, MMA media members. You couldn't really have coaches and fighters and people like that on there because they have allegiances to fighters and stuff like that. So that wouldn't work. It had to truly be independent. I think it needs to be people in the MMA media space, and there needs to be enough of them to negate any potential biases with local fighters and stuff like that. But I just don't see that happening because the UFC is so regularly slagged off the MMA media that I just don't see that happening. But I would love it if it was like Sean Sheehan and Ariel Helwani and Adam Catterall and all these people, and you had like 10 to 15 MMA journalists from across, Spencer Kite, people like that, who I think is brilliant. People that are true MMA journalists, not us, true MMA journalists that know what they're talking about, know what they're doing, ranking fighters.
I agree.
That's what I would like, but at the moment, I'm not sure that that's quite what happens. And if you name them as well, then they're slightly accountable for it as well, and I think that makes sense. Do you have anything you want to add on that subject?
No, I think you encapsulated it when it's like, it's a little bit chaotic, the ranking system, and sometimes things don't make sense when you see them in there, and, the UFC seem to utilize them to suit whatever they need to do. And, and yeah, I guess it's a point for fighters to aspire to be ranked, because maybe once they are ranked, for a majority of fights, they will probably get better opportunities to make more money. But does it massively factor into why fights are made? I mean, we've been speaking about Ahmed Sarukian, and look where he is in the rankings, and look what he's done to that division. But, the opportunities are being given to fighters that are ranked, further behind him. So, yeah.
100%. Underscore Parks and Wrecked. Enjoyed that pun. Good show.
Parks and Wrecked. Like that.
Like it. If Volk was an ice cream flavour, what would it be, and why is it Vegemite? What? Well, he's answered his own question, but also I don't agree with the answer.
No, I don't.
Vegemite is, you love it or hate it. I'm pretty sure that Volk is pretty much universally loved, isn't he?
100%. 100%.
So, I don't know. He's got to be, he doesn't take himself too seriously. So he's not gourmet ice cream or anything, but, he's a fun, very acceptable. There's never any trouble with Volk, know. He's not nuts. No nuts in there.
Yeah. He's not bland. He's not vanilla.
He's not bland. He's not vanilla. There's a bit of comedy in there.
Yeah.
Love a bit of, I don't know what would be a comedy ice cream addition. Some of those kind of like fizzy popping candy. Fizzy popping candy in there, or is that a bit too fizzy for Volk? He's not crazy. I don't know, but it's not Vegemite. It can't be Vegemite.
I think he's Neapolitan. I think like you get 3 flavors.
That sounds boring.
No. You just get the best of everything, because like,
do you know what? He's well-rounded fighter.
He's such a well-rounded
striker,
fighter. Grappler, and one of the nicest guys. He's got everything. And if you don't know which one to pick a bit of everything.
Do you know what? I wasn't for that when you first said it, but now I quite enjoyed it. But the addition to this question from Parks and Wrecked is, does Harrison beating Nunes make her the women's GOAT despite not having the same accolades within the company? Do you want to take... I mean, initially my just immediate answer is absolutely not, no.
Yeah, completely. Like, I'm not suggesting that at some point, that could be contested, but I think just due to what she's done within the UFC at the moment is nowhere near what Nunes has done. And by beating Nunes doesn't negate all of the things that Nunes has done in her career before she retired. So, yeah, if she can go on a tear the way that Amanda Nunes did, then questions should be asked, but there's a lot of work to do yet.
Yeah, I think if she beats Nunes, for me, she's still not even as good as Shevchenko, Weili Zhang. And again, when I say as good as, she'd probably beat them in a fight with her size, although the Chevy one I'd like to see. But just because you're the best at a certain period in a certain period of time doesn't mean you're the GOAT. Yeah. You're not the greatest. You haven't achieved as much. And when I look at Zhang Weili, definitely Valentina Shevchenko, even Chris Cyborg, someone like that,
I'd put Ronda in front of her as well.
And maybe even Rose Namajunas as well. Yeah. So in terms of achievement, because I mean, Kayla Harrison is not undefeated in MMA. She lost to Pacheco in the PFL. So she's not undefeated. And yeah, I mean, and also, like, if she did beat Nunes would have been out of the cage for 2.5 years. It's not going to be the same Amanda Nunes. So no, you cannot give Harrison any kind of GOAT status. She's got an amazing story that's unfortunately for her filled with a lot of tragedy. Yeah. But it's an amazing story in terms of what she's had to overcome in her career and what she's achieved in her career. 2-time Olympic gold medalist in judo, PFL world champion, UFC world champion. Like, it's incredible what she's been able to achieve. but she is not the GOAT of MMA by just beating Nunes. That she needs to do way more than
Absolutely.
for my money anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, if you disagree with any of the things that Blake and I have been saying, then by all means, when this episode comes out and you see the artwork on Instagram or Twitter or wherever we post it, or better still, in these YouTube comments, like, let us know your thoughts. Like, chime in. Tell us that we're wrong.
I really thought you were about to say, if you would disagree with Blake in these comments, let us know. Let's go on to _Lucardi. I'm just imagining that you're in some way like Italian or something.
I'm liking it.
I've rolled out Lucardi.
Yeah.
What do you think of these post-McGregor era champs who don't defend and just want big names on their resume? Well, if I was in their camp or I was advising them, I'd say keep doing it, because what you want as a prize fighter is the most amount of money, the biggest names on your resume for the least trouble, the least low risk, high reward. That's what you want. But as a fan, it can be shit. If Kamaru Usman fights Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title this year, I'll be fuming. There's so many contenders there that are way more deserving than Kamaru Usman. Yes, Kamaru Usman at one time was the pound-for-pound best on the planet. Fantastic fighter.
It smacks of John Jones versus Stipe Miocic.
It really does. It really does. I really wouldn't like it. I know it would mean something historically in terms of Islam's resume to go up and beat. But again, he's not the GOAT of. Speak about GOATs. He's not the GOAT of welterweight.
Yeah.
George St. Pierre is the best welterweight of all time. Uh-huh. He's the GOAT of welterweight. Kamaru Usman is number 2. Dana White coming out and saying Kamaru Usman is the greatest welterweight of all time. No, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he is not. George St. Pierre is.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
No. If you do agree with Blake, please let us know in the comments. There's no way that Kamaru Usman should fight Islam when you've got out there Shavkat, Morales, Ian Gary. Like, there's no way he should be getting that fight. Fight Ian Gary and beat him and then say you deserve it. And I'll go, yep, he does. Fair enough. But no, not until he does one of those. That to me is the answer to that question. What else we got? Oh. Owen Tasker. Thoughts on Modestas Bukauskas' redemption arc? How close away do you feel like he is from a title shot?
I don't mind starting this one. No one wants to see Modestas Bukauskas get a title shot more than probably Blake and I, because he's a friend of the show.
Mama Bukauskas.
What a top lad.
Sorry, carry on.
I think I'd really like to see him get a title shot. Do I see that coming in 2026? I don't think so. It's been great to see somebody come back from an injury like he did, which, for many fighters could have been absolute, career finisher. He's looking really stacked. He's a big boy in that division. Obviously, he's training with Tom and some other monsters up at Tom's gym, and it's clearly, bringing out a new Modestas, and I just hope that we do see him, strive in his division. But title shot, I don't see it coming in 2026. I think there's a bit more work to do. I mean, do you see it otherwise?
Well, he's saying how far away is he? I think he's got to be 3 or 4 fights away.
I think that's a fair
and
thing
they've
to
obviously
say.
all got to be wins. And that's a tall order when you get to the top of that division.
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, so pleased that it's going well for him. He's on a four-fight win streak, I think, since returning to the UFC. He was a lovely guy when we had him on the show. And his first time in the UFC ended so badly with that horrible leg injury to Khalil. So it's so great to see him in this mode right now, doing so well. And long may it continue. But he's got a big fight against Nikita Krylov coming up very, very soon. That'll get him into the rankings.
Is that on the Paddy undercard?
It might be, yeah. And then he's at least 2 fights away after that, because he'll be ranked about 13th. And I think he's probably. Yeah, I think he's got to get 3 or 4 wins, including the Krylov fight. And Krylov is a fighter that you're like, you never know which Krylov's going to turn up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, hopefully Modestas can do well there. But when you look at the top of that division and you look at like Mirzakhanov, Allberg, Yuri Prohazka, Ankalaev, Khalil Roundtree, like, they're tough fights. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. I think he's still a long way off from a title shot as it stands.
But yeah, let's just hope he just keeps on doing what he's doing, because I'd love to see him get up there and find himself, in the mix with the names that you just mentioned.
Yes. Mangali Shan?
Okay.
I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Mangali Shan. This is a bit of a fun one. What martial art would the 4 in-betweeners start in before transitioning into MMA? What style would they predominantly use?
Well, yeah, I'll let you take the lead on these, mate.
Yeah, go on then. So the obvious one for me is Neil. It's capoeira. He'll be dance fighting his way through the competition like a hot knife through butter. If anyone played the old Tekken games, I'm picturing like an Eddie Gordo type who's just sort of break dance fighting at people. That'd be Neil. It's so funny when people talk about the in-betweeners. I watched the in-betweeners when it first came out to be like, oh yeah, that's the show I'm in. And I've not really ever watched it since. Yeah. So people know the show better than me. But I have a vague memory of, did Jay maybe say he punched and knocked out a cow?
Yeah.
Did that happen? That is the thing?
Yeah.
I think that's true. So
and I've got a really, really mad story that I'll say.
Take it away.
Maybe we'll edit it out.
Okay, where's this going?
I was with him in my car, James, when I think that might have been the second series. And we was discussing crazy lies for Jay. And I was talking about my friend who has a friend who is a ridiculous liar. And he told the lie that him and his dad went to Windsor Safari Park and he knocked out a moose. And I quote, because it was bogging him out.
Him out?
Yeah. So he turned around and knocked out a moose. This is also the guy who turned up down the pub all sad because his budgie had died. And they said, how did your budgie die? And he said, well, he broke his leg about 3 weeks ago. And my dad made a splint for his leg with a Swan Vesta match, which he accidentally struck on the sandpaper at the bottom of the cage and burnt to death. Which is one of the greatest lies. It's an incredible lie.
I don't know what to do with it, because there's part of me that worries that that's not a lie with it. See, I'm going full Neil now. I'm starting to believe this kind of stuff.
But yeah, so I believe that the moose thing might have made it back to Damon and Ian.
So you're taking credit for that joke?
Possibly.
Right, I'll talk to the writers about that and see if you can get some kind of commission or something.
Excellent.
So Jay's got to be boxing because he's knocked out a cow.
Of course.
So he's got to be boxing. I'm thinking that for Simon, he was probably wrestling because he was wearing like a singlet and there was like a bollock hanging out of it.
Oh, good shot. I know 80s style wrestling.
Yeah, he was wearing the singlet. The bollock was hanging out of it. And that's what he got banned from wrestling.
Yeah.
He was there college wrestling and then he got banned because the nut was hanging out.
Brilliant.
And that's when he had to transition into MMA. And then I really didn't know what to say about Will. But, he's a clever guy and, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is sort of like, the chess of combat sports. So,
I thought you was going because I thought you was going to go sumo.
Have you got something better? I've not got anything better.
I saw him as sumo, just like in them like big pants. Yeah, just like maybe taking his glasses off before shit gets real. Like
I'd enjoy to see it. I'd enjoy seeing it. So there you go. That's what I think. So Neil Capoeira, Jay boxing, Simon wrestling, Bollock hanging out, and Will BJJ or sumo, whichever you prefer.
Absolutely.
Right. So big shout out to McIllustrations because he actually did a bit of artwork for us a while back, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Legend McIllustrations. Thank you very much. Yes, go and give him a follow. That's MCC Illustrations. What are your thoughts on the overall state of the UFC? I see a lot of recent posts just about the lack of promotion, matchmaking being compared to WWE, and being more aligned to popularity than fighting ability, and also just your general feeling towards the UFC. How was 2025 compared to previous years? I'm just going to leave that at that for that one because it was quite a long question. I have to be honest, 2025 for me was a weird one because I kind of felt like when the UFC were on it, when they were doing good pay-per-views, I was like, this is great. And there was maybe one or two fight nights, maybe a Saudi card or something, or a Paris card. I can't fully remember now. That I was like, these are great cards. These are really good cards. I'm really excited about this card. But there was also a lot of cards that I was like, oh, God, really? I've not fast-forwarded as many fights ever as I've done in 2025.
That's interesting.
Because there's too many fight cards, and the quality, because they've got the Contender Series and all these things, the quality of the fights are lesser. We don't get the opportunity to be invested in these fighters as human beings because there doesn't seem to be an opportunity to really get to know them. So I've struggled at times with 2025 UFC, I have to be honest.
So I think, I know what you're saying, but I like the fact that they're very, very frequent, events. They're far more regular, and even like the last card of the year, which if you run your eyes over it, it was like, and part of me thinks that's because we're being spoilt with some of the big cards. But the last card of the year I thought was absolutely fantastic. I think that was one that Morgan Sharia on it, and I can't remember.
See, that's the thing. There's so many cards you can't remember what they were, and they only happened a few weeks ago.
But for me, as somebody that doesn't watch any other sport, the fact that I can get up on a Sunday morning and watch a few hours of my favourite sport, now I like that, and so I like the fact that it's now more frequent. Now, in regards to looking at cards and going, nah, do you think that changes as to sort of demographic? Because for me, if I see that Luke Riley and Shamrock are both on the card, I'm so excited. Like that card, I was like, Shamrock and Luke. If you live anywhere else in the world,
no,
do you give a shit that Luke Riley and Shamrock are making their UFC debuts? Probably not.
You have to be like a hardcore MMA fan because you have to have watched Cage Warriors or know the story of Shamrock and all these kind of things, and then you're into it. If you're anywhere else in the world, you probably don't care, or if you do care, it's because you're probably working in this industry. You're probably working as an MMA pundit or journalist or for a website or whatever it is, and you know Cage Warriors, even though you're in America or whatever it is.
But do you not think that if, there's a card that's very heavy on like, Brazilian fighters or fighters from, I don't know, areas in and around Russia, then do you not think that, people from those places are getting super hyped to see these prospects that they've seen in other organisations now stepping on the big stage? And I do think it is an opportunity, as fans, I guess I wouldn't put us in the bracket of casuals. I think we're, passionate fans for the UFC. I think it does give us an opportunity to see fighters. I mean, the fighters that you mentioned in your prospects for the year, like, I guess a few people might run their eyes over over a card and see their names on it and not go, oh, absolutely so hyped to watch this. But, you know, if it's on and you see these fighters, you're like, holy shit, I can't wait to see him fight again. And I think that's what you do. You're marketing the new fighters because, you know, we are finding ourselves in a time in some divisions, heavyweight being a prime example of that, and even, you know, I won't say welterweight, but, you know, maybe even lightweight, where, you know, the tops of the divisions, you know, your Gaethjes and your Maxis and your Charles, that you know, these are fighters that are coming to superstars that are now reaching the tail ends of their careers. So you've got to be marketing the new guys, and yes, you know, you've got fighters like.
Do you think they are though?
Coming through? I do believe they are. Yeah.
Really? You think they're marketing these fighters?
I think there's a system in place there. I do think there's a system in place where they're being slowly pushed up. Do you not?
No, I don't think them. I don't think they're marketing them at all. I don't think they're doing things to help.
When I say marketing, showcasing.
Okay, so you changed it.
What can they do than put them on a card and match them well?
I suppose in terms of when you're saying marketing, there's loads more they could do, but you change that to showcasing. I feel like, I don't know, man. I personally, I would rather the UFC have a smaller roster, have less cards in the year, but the card quality is better all round. Like, if they went from 44 cards a year to 32 cards a year even, I think that could make a big difference. And I think that the quality of the fight cards will be better. And you'll get... Because there's some fight nights that are slogs. Yep. There are some fight nights where you're like, I don't know who these people are. The only ranked fight on the card is, you know, 12 v 10 in women's bantamweight, or it's, I don't know, 15 versus 13 in light heavyweight, and it's just it's not great. You want more. You want more stars. You want people that you want fighters that the people can really get behind. And to do that, I think you need to see those fighters more often. And I think it needs to be more of an event when they fight. But if you've just got too many people and too many cards, it all just becomes a big blur and nothing can really stand out.
But I think that seeing fighters more often and getting invested in them, I think that was what Ultimate Fighter was so good for. But I do think that formula, like, is a bit tired now.
It definitely is.
And the contender season, like, you know, it's. I don't think it gets the eyes on it that I think.
But
the UFC
that's changed as well.
Does.
Contender series was like, if you got a big finish, you were getting a contract. Now it's just if you win, you get a contract.
Yeah,
it's stuff like that. It's like, it doesn't feel, again, they've overdone it.
Yeah,
like with a lot of things, they've overdone it, and I think that means that just the quality dips a bit. Okay. And you've got people that, like, 10 years ago, the fighters getting in through the Contender Series wouldn't be in the UFC at 4-0, 3-0, 5-0, 6-0. They would have had to stay in Cage Warriors until they were 7, 8, 9-0 and had been champions and had 5-round fights. Same with other organizations. They would be getting their reps in on the kind of regional scenes, and then they'd be going into the UFC fights being much more hardened, much more well-rounded, and the quality of them as a fighter would be greater. And so, yeah, but that's just me. I think the UFC is there's too much of it, and it just diminishes it slightly. But having said that, when they do the pay-per-views, more often than not, they're fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. WJB864 has given us 2 questions, but I'm going to tie one in with Tyler Jones 2565. So the first one was, does Pantoja beat Van in a rematch? Just don't know, man, because we just didn't see enough of that first fight, did we? We've not seen Van tested enough on the ground, and Pantoja would have wanted to get it there. But now, in a rematch, Pantoja's older, coming back from a bad injury. I think I would have I was picking Pantoja to beat Van in a rematch, even though we hardly saw any of the fight. Just the fact that how quickly can Pantoja recover from the injury? He's going to be older. 125 is a division where you need to be a bit younger. I don't know. I won't be as confident picking Pantoja if I pick Pantoja. What do you think?
I completely and utterly agree with you.
Good, great podcasting.
I'm not going to say otherwise for the hell of it. I'm really not. It's because, Pantoja, he's one of the greatest in that division, ever. And I think he's absolutely fantastic. And we spoke about it on the show a couple of weeks back anyway, that, that injury looked horrific. I know he seems to be downplaying it, but, the replays show exactly what happened, and it was horrific. And I wonder at his age, how long recovery is going to take, and, that amount of time out of the octagon at his age, will that really play into Josh Van's hands?
Yep, very possibly. So Tyler Jones 2565 and also WJB 864 have basically asked us, does Yuri have a chance to regain the 205 belt? So can Yuri become light heavyweight champion again?
Yeah, I believe so. And the way that I see that happening is Pereira goes up to heavyweight, and I think that then leaves a potential fight between Yuri and maybe Alberg, or Yuri and Ankalaev. I don't know who. I guess some other bits and bobs have got to play out in the meantime. But yeah, I think he's well up there in the mix. And I think if Pereira does go up, which it wouldn't surprise me, then I think, he's, with Pereira gone, Yuri's the biggest star in that division.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree with everything you just said, and I think that that is going to have a big influence on my prediction for who's going to be champ at light heavyweight in our predictions episode, as I do think Poatan is, even if Poatan fights Solberg first, he's going to leave after that. And Yuri, I might be giving it away now. I think Yuri's going to be my shout for 205 champ at the end of 2026, but we'll have to wait and see. A week is a long time in MMA. Let's see what happens. So I've got a question here from the autocorrect on my my iPad has called him Ben Castellated, which sounds like an operation you would have on you. His name's actually Ben Caswell. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to be castellated. Sounds like, no. That doesn't sound good.
It feels like
no man wants to be
castellated.
castellated.
Ben won't have any more children, so Ben castellated.
Get castellated. Yeah. So Ben Castellated / Caswell. Which champion do you think will lose the strap first? I'm assuming he means in 2026. He's putting his money on Jan. Woo! Thinks Peter Jan will lose his strap first. And he's not even booked to fight yet. I don't know about that. I mean, I don't agree with that assessment. I don't think Jan's the first to lose his belt. But let's look at the...
What's coming up?
Well, here's the thing. The most likely... So the first belt to be defended is Kayla Harrison Nunes. Nunes could win that belt. Kayla Harrison is first up. The weight cuts are not easy for her at 135. And Nunes, yes, 2.5 years out of the cage, but Nunes can crack. And Harrison might find that difficult. So I think Kayla Harrison's a good shout for losing her belt first. The other thing is the next belt defended is Volkanovski versus Lopez. Do you think Volk comes through that all right, like he did in the first fight? Or do you think Volk's that bit older?
Easy question. Why did you take the Harrison Nunes question and you've thrown the Volk win to me?
Because I can't say it. I can't say it out loud. You have to say it. Do you think Volk gets through Lopez, or do you think Lopez can take Volk out?
Do I think that Lopez can take out Volk? 100%. Yeah, 100%. Like, I think Lopez can take out anyone in that division. I think he's an absolute savage. But do I think Volk can do remarkable things and is an absolute remarkable human being and fighter? 100%. Do I think
the old
Lopez...
Neapolitan ice cream, mate?
Absolutely, mate. Do I think Volk wins the rematch? Yes, I do. And then hopefully he then hangs his gloves up. But I did see an interview this morning. I was watching, I think it was on Aspinall's YouTube channel. It was Aspinall's or Paddy's, but they were both sitting together at Next Gen, I believe. And Paddy was saying that he thinks if he beats
Gaethje
and has got the strap and Volk wins, he thinks that Volk will look to come up because he thinks that is an opportunity and a winnable fight. And obviously Tom was like, no, man, I do not want to see that. Like, I love Volk. And Paddy was like, oh, yeah, I love Volk, of course. But he thinks that he could see that as an opportunity for greatness. And
I did not see that coming.
It makes sense,
I did
doesn't
not see that coming. I mean... I don't see how Volk leapfrogs Topuria, Sarukian, Holloway if he beats Oliveira. He could leapfrog Holloway because
he's beaten him
3 times. But to leapfrog Sarukian and Topuria, that's tough going. That is a bitter pill for Sarukian.
Depends how long Topuria's
out
for. I think Volk versus Paddy. Arman Sarukian has got to go and sit back down in that room.
Oh, he does, doesn't he? Oh,
yeah.
Arman's in the room. Oh, poor Arman Sarukian. Man, I did not see that coming. That's a great shout.
And I'm sure, don't quote me on this, I'm sure when Paddy was talking about it and they mentioned Sarukian at that point, he went, he can just go back down and fight Gamrot.
There you go. He seems to have no power, Sarukian, does he? He's got no power whatsoever.
That Islam fight, that really fucking left a sour taste in the UFC mouths, didn't it?
It did. Sticking with Ben Caswell's question, just to throw out some names of people that haven't got fights booked yet but could lose their belt first. Josh Van, obviously, could fight soon. Pantoja, if he gets back from injury quickly, is a difficult fight, even though, we don't know. But if he fights Tatsuro Taira or Manel Cap, also 2 very difficult fights. I'm going to throw Mackenzie Dern out there as well, because if they make Zhang Wei Li versus Mackenzie Dern, there's only one way that fight's going, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And the belt will be leaving Mackenzie Dern and going over to Zhang Wei Li. So I'm going to say Kayla Harrison's the first one to lose her belt. What's your official pick?
Oh God! I feel like I should say something different to you, but I do agree with you. I think Nunes he's gonna knock out Kayla Harrison. I'm sticking with that. I'm sticking with that as well because I do think that Volk beats Lopez in the rematch.
Yeah. Noah MMA. Carlos Prates versus Jack Della Maddalena is targeted for an event in April. Who do you think wins and how? Now, I haven't heard about this, but that is an absolute banger if that is going to happen. I would love that fight. Jack Della versus Carlos Prates. Fantastic fight. Love that. How do you think that goes down?
I think Jack Della just absolutely bashes him up. I think it's just a lot of dirty boxing. And I think Jack Della just shows the world why he had that strap around his waist. Yes, it weren't for long, but look who he had to fight. In his first defence. That's a tough matchup. I still think Jack's one of the best welterweights on the planet, and I think we're going to see him do something really, really impressive. And I think he will destroy Carlos Prates.
Yeah. I can see it being a really fun fight. I think Jack Della's got a great chin on him. I think Prates is a really good striker. I think Jack maybe is a better striker. I can see it being a really fun fight that goes to points and it goes in the favour of Jack Della.
It's a great fight. It's a great fight.
It's the perfect fight for Jack in terms of what worries me about Jack going forward is where is his head at after getting beaten so, with all due respect, so easily by Islam. Islam really dominated him. It was no contest at all. So if he was fighting a grappler now, I think that could really play mind games with him.
So
the fact that he's fighting a striker.
What other grapplers are at the top end of that division, like that are looking like they could be a big problem? Like I don't think
for JDM.
Yeah,
Sean Brady. Sean Brady is someone that could cause JDM real problems.
Apart from Sean Brady,
I don't know about Kamaru Usman because he dealt with Joaquin Buckley very easily.
Yeah. Joaquin
Buckley's
not JDM, anyway. Mate.
No, he's not JDM. You're right. But I don't know.
When you start looking at like Morales, like
Shavkat can grapple as well.
Oh, that's a good shout. Oh, people just forget Shavkat, don't they?
Because he hasn't fought in over a year.
Yeah.
He's the guy that should be fighting for the belt next, but he hasn't fought in so long. It's tricky. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think JDM wins that fight, but I think it's a closer fight than maybe you think, and I think he maybe wins on points, and I think it could be an absolute great fight, a really fun fight to watch. But I think where's Jack's head at, because it depends how much of a number that Islam loss has done on him. If he's dealt with it really, really well, and the fact that he is fighting a striker and not a grappler will really help, I think, get some confidence back for him. Then it'll be okay. But if it has left a mark on him, then maybe practice is getting him at the right time, and maybe that could be a problem. Speaking of the welterweight division and what we just mentioned, Unsilent Death Nails breakdown. With welterweight being so stacked, who do you see as the biggest threat to Islam? Makhachev. I mean, we've both just said Shavkat. Do you agree that Shavkat is the one that's the most trouble for Islam Makhachev?
No.
Who's the most trouble for Islam Makhachev?
I've got to be honest. Like, looking at what he's done, Morales, I think he's I think he's a big problem. Like,
he is. He's a massive dude, isn't he?
Look at the size of him and the range and the power.
Yeah.
Like, look, does he beat Islam Makhachev? Islam Makhachev is a phenomenon. He really is. But I think Shavkat, like, if he's going to wrestle, then, he's comfortable there. I think Islam's striking with an Ian Gary and things like that, I think he's got confidence in them areas. I think striking with somebody like Morales, I think poses problems. And if he can stay away from them takedowns and use his range, he's got a big chance of clipping him. And I think that matchup, don't get me wrong, Islam might just slip him, take him down constantly, and just
that's what I see happening.
The hell out of the planet again, and no one's interested because it's boring. But I do think there is a big chance that Morales' striking style could just do something really exciting, and what Islam Makhachev needs in the octagon is excitement, because he doesn't bring any.
I think that's harsh, but I think that I think you're right that Morales has a chance because he's got amazing power and he's so big for the weight class. But
Who did he fight last time out?
Because Sean Brady.
I mean, don't get me. Obviously, Sean Brady's not the tallest of welterweights, but my God, Morales looked huge. Like,
he looked like a middleweight fighting welterweight. Easily,
and look what he done to a very, very high level wrestler. Yes,
but there's levels, and Islam Makhachev, he's a better wrestler than Brady, and he's a much better striker than Brady. So yeah, I think skill for skill, Shavkat's the one because he's got the size as well, and he's got all the skills. So I mean, he's undefeated. I think Shavkat is the one that's going to cause the problems for Islam Makhachev. I'd love to see that fight. I imagine we don't get it because we don't always get what we want in this life, Stu Whiffen, and I think that's one of those situations. Lawrence Atkins, if Pantoja is out for at least a year due to injury, how do you see Josh Van doing? Do you think he'll hold on to the belt long enough for a rematch? Or I'm going to sit on the fence on this one for a little bit. Whiffin, you can take over.
Do you know what? If I get a chance to see Manel Kape versus Joshua Van, yes, please.
Yeah, but that's not the question, Stu Whiffin. The question is, does he hold on to the belt long enough to rematch Pantoja? Because the likelihood is he's going to fight either Kape or Tyra, and he has to beat them and then probably fight Pantoja. If not, fight again after that anyway. But probably win one and then fight Pantoja.
He's probably a little bit more well-rounded and probably presents a few other issues, whereas I think Kape, you're just going to get utter fireworks with him and Josh Van, and that's the fight I
want to see.
That's the fight.
Yeah, from a pure fighter A versus fighter B, and what's the most fun you can have watching an MMA fight?
It's them two.
Kape versus Van is going to be great. I can see a world in which Van gets knocked out in the first couple of rounds. I can see a world in which they have a fantastic fight and Van wins it. Like it could go either way. I think that could be a really brilliant fight. If it's Tyra, it's either going to be Tyra's taking him down and Van just doesn't have the ground game to compete, and it's going to be a dominant win for Tyra. Or if he can keep it on the feet, Tyra's in big trouble because he won't be able to box with Van. So, both compelling fights. Yeah. Very compelling fights.
Yeah, but we both know which one we want to watch.
Yes, absolutely. But does Van beat whoever he has to fight before the Pantoja rematch can get made? In our hypothetical world, he's got to fight one of those two, Tyra or Kape. He's got to win and then fight Pantoja. Does he beat that person, yes or no?
If he fights Manel Kape, this is a really tough question. The way
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I think Tyra or Kape can beat him. And so I'm going to lean towards no. I hate saying it because I really want to see Josh Van do well. I think he seems really great, only 24. I love his fight style. So I want to see Van do well. I'd like to see him beat either Tyra or Kape. I'm not... You've gone Stu with him. What's going on? Oh, no, you're there. But yeah, I'd like to see him beat either of those guys. But I can see, especially with the lack of experience, I can see either of those guys beating him. So I'm saying no, he can't make it to the Pantoja rematch. What about you?
Yeah, I do think Kape beats him. I just think he's fantastic and is exciting, as is Josh Van. And I'd love to see him if he loses to Kape or Tatsura. That's by no means the last chance he's going to get a sniff of a title, because he's so young and he's so exciting and he's only going to get better over the next few years. So, I don't think it's going to massively. I think he could easily become a 2-time champion.
Yeah, I've only got 2 questions left on my list.
Okay,
you might have a slightly different list, and you might want to pull up some others.
For well over an hour, mate. So throw them out now.
So Lucas Sutton has quickly said Islam versus Ilya. Who wins? For me, it's easily Islam, especially if it's at 170. Maybe easily is the wrong turn of phrase, but I think Islam beats him, and especially if it's at 170.
Ilya Topuria knocks out Islam Makhachev.
Difference of opinion there. Even at 170.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes, just because I think, I just think that the dynamite he's got in him hands, he's ridiculous.
Right. Last question, and I'd like you to maybe see if you can pull one up from the direct messages or something, because I don't want to end on this question.
Okay.
Stu Whiffin. Aston has said, do you see Merab's second fight, or did you, Aston has said, did you see Merab's second fight with Petr Yan going the way it went? If not, how did you think it would have went? And I'm sorry, Aston, I'm pretty sure you've just done this to mug me off, because we did a whole preview show for this, and I very explicitly said, and I was saying for weeks in the lead up to the fight, Merab's absolutely dominated him and 50-45'd him in the first fight. So that's probably what's going to happen again. I'm not interested in the Jan rematch. I don't think Jan has a chance of beating him, and I couldn't have been more wrong, could I? So I feel like Aston's just mugging me off in front of my pals, in front of my MMA fan pals, and he's doing it on purpose.
Right. Okay. I mean, we've gone through quite a lot of here. A lot of the questions that are on here. We've got here.
There was a couple of direct messages. I may be able to pull one up from one you sent me, but that was my list.
What we got here? Right. Okay. Looking back, how did you view the chaos of UFC 223 at the time? Ferguson injury, Holloway ruled out, McGregor bus incident, cancellations. Was that 223?
Yeah.
It was. And that's from Aaron Rymill. That was a direct message. And always, yeah, sorry, he's double loaded that. Would there ever be a more chaotic fight week than UFC 223? Looking back on that now, like I don't look back at that in any other way than I looked at it at the time. It was just really disappointing as a UFC fan, and seeing the impact Conor McGregor had made on the organisation, taking it to, levels that probably a lot of fight fans never thought it would make, him becoming a household name. More people knew who Conor McGregor was than knew what the UFC was. And yeah, the bus incident and stuff was just absolutely disgraceful. And it just, you watch it still now and it's just, yeah, that's just it's absolutely disgusting. Yeah, yourself?
Yeah. I mean, look, in terms of the question asked being, will any other fight week get as crazy as that? I'm going to say maybe yes, because MMA is one of the maddest sports in the world. Crazy shit seems to happen all the time. There's all sorts of weird people involved now as well. Zuckerberg's at loads of things. Donald Trump is around. There's going to be a card at the White House. I mean, friggin' hell. I mean, with everything that's going on in the world at the moment, without going into too much detail, I mean, all sorts of madness could happen. So, yes, it could do. But just to put that into perspective, for any newer fans out there that weren't a fan around the time of UFC 223, in which Khabib Nurmagomedov won the vacant belt, I believe it was, in the end, against Al Iaquinta, of all people, is because he was scheduled to fight Tony Ferguson for like the third or fourth time or whatever it was, and Tony had to pull out with injury. I remember reading about this on social media when I was in my local Sainsbury's, and I was really upset about it to the point where I went and bought like loads of cookies to try and get myself over it. I was so upset when I heard that Tony was out of this fight. The fight had already been pulled like 3 times in other situations. And this was the fight. At the time, Tony Ferguson, it'd be weird for people now to hear this that have only been fans of the sport for the last 5 years or whatever. Tony Ferguson was the guy that lots of people, probably including myself, was like, Tony can do it. Tony can beat Khabib.
That was the fight.
That was the fight. That was the most anticipated fight you could make in the UFC, was Tony versus Khabib. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone wanted it. Again, feels crazy now given the run that Tony went on. But that was the fight. Tony was on like a 12-fight win streak. Khabib looked unstoppable. This was incredible. This was, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 6 vibes. This was the fight.
Yeah.
And then they had to look for so many different opponents for Khabib. One of them at one point was Anthony Pettis, who was the former lightweight champion, but that didn't work out. Apparently that was to do with purse negotiations. Max Holloway had a press conference. He was fighting Khabib. He had a press conference. They were sat at the table. He was fighting Khabib. That didn't happen because they deemed Max Holloway's weight cut unsafe, even though it was 10 pounds over where he was usually fighting down at featherweight. That didn't happen. Paul Felder was apparently going to happen at one point, and the fight didn't get sanctioned. And then they went to, oddly, the guy that was meant to be fighting Paul Felder originally, Al Iaquinta, who was ranked about 11th or 12th. I mean, great guy. Like, it seems like a really fun bloke. But that was mental. And then you throw on top of that Artem Lobov, the slap situation, Conor going all the way down there, the bus thing. I believe it was maybe Ray Borg that got hit in the eye with some glass or something like that. Rose Namajunas was on that bus as well. Obviously, it was horrendous.
No, it wasn't. It was Thingy, wasn't it? Who was the guy? Don't disrespect don't ever talk about my mum. What was his name? The pundit now. Oh God, the wrestler. Oh my God. UFC pundit.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Oh, he got injured on the bus as well. I'm
sure Ray Borg got glass in the eye or something like that.
Screaming now, going off. Oh my God. What's his name?
Anthony Smith.
No. Much lighter.
Chiesa.
Michael Chiesa. Yeah,
right.
Chiesa.
Yeah, well, maybe it was him as well.
Yeah, but he was on that bus.
That was absolutely insane. And then the police are arresting Conor McGregor. I mean, as fight weeks go,
he's going to prison. He's going to prison.
Yeah.
Like, that guy's going to jail. You know, he's never going to blah, 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 blah. Fast forward like 2 months, and then they're using that Dolly incident in promo to hype the fight.
Yeah. I mean,
crazy.
That was utterly insane, like 3 or 4 days in the lead up to that fight. Utterly insane.
I agree with you. There's every opportunity that in the world we live in with fighters like Sean Strickland in the UFC that, you know, and Khamzat, you know, Khamzat's a volatile character. You know, you saw that weird stuff that happened with Ian Gary, an event a couple of months back. You know, these are all very volatile people and massive personalities and very dangerous, capable human beings. And like, once you throw that right in the mix with an audience, with money and testosterone, there's always going to be fireworks. And, you know, and it, unfortunately, it does sell fights and it creates more attention and hype for the UFC. And they're never going to be daft enough not to fan them flames.
Well, the highest selling pay-per-view fight of all time was Khabib versus Conor.
Yeah.
And obviously Conor was a superstar, which did a lot of the heavy lifting. But the rivalry between them, which included that dolly throwing incident and all that stuff, was one of the main factors for it kind of just doing even better than it would have done. That was an insane fight week. That was insane. I mean, thinking about it now and the craziness of all of that, it is going to be hard to top that in terms of just... I mean, I sort of hope it never gets topped because what the hell is going to have to happen for it to beat that?
Yeah.
But... yeah, that was mad. But as you said, I do think this sport is full of crazy characters.
Yeah.
So you just never know. But hopefully nothing too severe happens.
That there's going to be an event at the White House and that John Jones might be fighting on it and Conor McGregor might be fighting on it. Just let that sink in. There's every opportunity there's going to be some mad shit going down that week.
Can you imagine if it's like the week starts off with John Jones fighting someone, Conor McGregor fighting someone, and then all of a sudden a couple of days go by and due to whatever incidents occur with those two men, the main event is like Michael Chandler versus Al Iaquinta at the White House. Al Iaquinta was down the road.
Mate, I'm all over it.
Quinter was selling some houses down the road and he's come out of retirement to fight Michael Chandler at the White House.
Oh
goodness.
Sign me up. Well, look, thank you all so much for making the effort to send in your questions. We really appreciate it. And thanks everybody. If you're listening to this or if you're watching this, if you are listening to it, you can also If you didn't already, you can head over to YouTube and you can watch us over there. When you see the post I mentioned earlier on Instagram, or you're watching the video over on YouTube, get commenting with your thoughts on any of the questions that we've answered this evening. And also, while you're doing that, also click the link on Instagram to Fat Candy. Give them a follow and treat yourself to some freeze-dried sweetie treats and use that discount code SWEETMMA. I think all that leaves us to do now is go away, listen to last year's predictions episode, and to find out just how badly, or if we've done all right with our predictions for 2025, and let's get our predictions in line for 2026. Other than that, we're done.
We're done, baby. Bye.